It's Monday, 10th of November 2025, and I'm looking at the council by-elections of last week. I think it was week 45 of 2025, and most of them were on Thursday, but there was two on Tuesday, which were very interesting, from Burnley. And I'm looking at the elections from a single issue viewpoint. Since we live in Britain under Keir Starmer, I don't feel I can say what that issue is. But I don't believe in the party hamper system anyhow. I think Switzerland's the only real democracy, and we should vote on issues in regular referendums like they do in Switzerland. First of all, we'll go by looking at a national poll, and I'm looking at find out now who seem to be an outlier. They always have Reform very high, and the Greens high, and Labour very low, but compared to the others. But I think they're right, so I'm just using them just now. From the excellent stats for lefties X channel, and we can see here Reform are in 33%, the Greens on 18%, they're higher than Labour now, look at that. They're 3 higher than Labour. Another pollster has the Greens higher than Labour by 1 point, by about 17%. No, it may have been them actually the week before. And there's the Tories at 16, Lib Dems at 11. That's just to give you a general idea of the national polls. Here's another one, JL Partners polls. You always need to look at who's done the polling. They've got Reform on 30%, Labour 23%, which I find hard to believe. Tories 17%, Lib Dems 12%, Greens 10%. I think Greens are higher than that, personally. And here's the results. There were 7 results, and this is from the Election Maps UK website, which is an excellent website, and it's basically doing the government's job because they're the only people keeping tabs really online of what's going on. I have seen another website that does this, but it's the only website in about 10 years that I've seen that isn't HTTPS yet. You've got to be S to be secure. It's still HTTP. The last time I looked anyway. I don't know if it's to do with the government. It wouldn't surprise me, but I don't think it is actually. You would think you'd be able to just go on the government website and see all this, but no. And you might not even be able to see the results in the local council areas of where they've taken place. But anyway, let's get on with it. Well, first of all, we've got 2 results in Burnley on Tuesday evening. I really appreciate these elections that are not on Thursdays, just mixes it up, and they both went the same way. They both were Labour, and they've probably been Labour possibly since they were ever created, and they've went to independence, and possibly the independents have Pakistan flags, or are very fond of Pakistan, so it seems it was that sort of situation. So they really trounced Labour basically. 44% from a 34% turnout. Labour are down 25%. And when you look on, there's a who you voted for website or something, and the councillors or the candidates can fill them in there so that online you can get some details about them. There's nothing about these 2 that won these seats on that site, as far as I know. I've not actually looked myself. I just heard that. And we can see anyway that Reform done quite well here, because apparently these 2 seats, I think one's about 25% South Asian or Asian, they would call it. I think it's a bit of an insult to call them all Asian, I think you've got to be, I think you've got to, on the tribal level, you've got to, so that you understand this, it's almost as if the government and media don't want us to understand, not that I'm saying it's good or bad understanding, I'm just saying we should have the facts, you would have thought, and sensibly run government but no, it's my impression is that possibly most from these areas are maybe from Mirpur in Pakistan, but I don't know. I mean, ancestrally, a lot of them will be third generation or whatever. Um, but yeah, both of them were strong Labour seats. These areas, I mean, I think one was 25%, say South Asian, and another maybe 40% South Asian, maybe. Maybe Queensgate, someone higher. Oh no, wait a minute, that independence down. Or maybe this is where you don't work out the seats in the normal way. Yeah, but anyway, because I think Burnley's area with that Mr. Tiger won the seat, and the Tories were really joyous about it about 3 or 4 years ago, and then last year or whatever he went quote independent, and a lot of people voted for him. I don't know if he got in, he probably did. But anyway, here we've got two independents. We don't really know much about them. Yeah, I think people of the right would say that there was a danger that people are going to go along tribal lines, but the centre right and the left especially, were always there to tell you, no, you can't. That's bad to think that. You know, etc., etc. Yeah, that's what the left have told us, you know. And if anybody does vote that way, it's bad of them, you know. But they were talking about traditional Brits, you know. Whereas here we've got it. I guess Labour, to the public, they'll be saying we can win this seat back. It's just we've got a chance of winning this seat back. It's not going to stay this way forever and ever, you know. But you can see in Burnley, in that place anyway, Reform done really well. So maybe that's the area where it's 25% or whatever. Big turnout there, 34%. The other one was 27%. So maybe people of the right would say this is the way it's going to go, whereas the left would tell you that it's bad to think that. It's really bad, and it's nonsense. Because we've got the Aspire Party in London, East London, who will possibly love Bangladesh. And they've got Bangladeshi surnames, I think. And yeah, so Labour are probably feeling they can win that back, and we've got the Newham Independents as well in the Newham area, which is next to Tower Hamlets, which is where Aspire Party are dominant. Yeah, but Labour will tell us that Labour will get back in because they're a universal thingy, and they're there to call anybody traditional Brits bad if they predict that's going to happen that way, you know, and they're not allowed to do anything like that. Anyway, on the other ones, I don't really know. West Devon, it's really strange what happened here. I mean, I wonder, it'd be interesting to see what the sort of ethnic build-up is there, you know, because I'm wondering if this might be sort of areas where things haven't changed, like over the Boris waves, or even the last 30 years, or even the last 75 years, you know, haven't changed much. And it's sort of a luxury vote, you know. It seems to be areas where they don't want to vote Labour. And the Greens had this seat. I think the Greens. No, they were second, but for some reason they weren't standing this time, and it was the Lib Dems. I mean, people say that the left parties, because there's quite a few of them, the others will stand down to give one of them the chance of beating the right. You know, the Tories just down a bit. There's no reform there even. Reform. Either they couldn't find something to stand, or they just decided it's not even worth it. You know, the Independent used to be pretty big. In fact, Lib Dem gain from Independent probably. No, it was the Green. Yeah, I do wonder about these areas, these Lib Dem areas. But I think these areas are pretty limited to the sort of the West Country and central England apart from the cities, maybe stuff like that, I don't know. So here's Westway, Tandridge, I don't know where that is. 25% turnout, the other place is 22% turnout. That's pretty normal for a council by-election because everything's done to make it difficult to vote, basically, in Britain. So if you're not really that interested, any obstacle's just going to put you off. I mean, we don't have weekend voting, we don't have electronic voting. Everything is a working day, so everything's done to put you off voting, basically. So there's nothing really to see there. But Reform came in, well, they came in big straight away, so that's pretty good. 33%. I mean, they weren't far behind. I think the Tories have crashed. Labour have crashed a bit as well, so that's good. Maybe the Labour went to Reform, I don't know. I'm looking at it from a one issue thing. At the moment, Reform are the only Overton window shift on that from the mainstream. Advance will be coming up soon, that will be another, that'll be better. Then you might have to vote tactically between Reform and Advance, with a preference for Advance, if you're thinking the way I'm thinking. I mean, in normal circumstances, say if it was 1947, I'd probably be voting Green at the moment, but I think I'm only voting on a single issue now, so that'll be Reform. That's all you can vote for at the moment, really. So here's another one, Tandridge, and it's a local one. I think it's a local with only local interest, basically, for everyone of the area. Reform, 27%, so that's a good turnout. Personally, I wish all these locals would just disappear at the moment and just let Reform just go straight through, because I think we're at that sort of crisis, you know. It's not even about your local area or nationally between Tories left and right. I think it's really crisis mode. Really. I mean, I think Advance UK, Ben Habib says 2029 we're talking about existentialism, you know, that election. So there's nothing really to say there, really. This is a good one. Well, South Derbyshire, independent keen from Labour, I think. Oh no, it's probably from another independent. This was a 30% turnout, which is quite high. I don't know, that's probably a local, you know, to do with local interests for everyone of the area, you know. It's nothing to do with identity or anything like that. So Reform Street on at 24, that's pretty good. Turnout 30%. Labour have been absolutely trounced. They're down 20, so that's fantastic. I think they're going to lose Derbyshire totally. So that's sort of Vivek Cooper territory, you know. Tories down as well. Reform straight in, so that's pretty good. Hopefully, if there's no local standing, Reform will just trounce that area. No Lib Dem thinking as Greens didn't stand. Castle on New York and Sherwood. A Reform gain, so that's good news. From an independent, thank goodness. Looks like the independent. No, it was a new independent. Or was that him? Or her? Can't see them. Ah, yeah, there we go. The independent's down. So that's good news. Locals are just in the way at the moment, you know. So 29% Reforms, that's fantastic. So it's not a big majority to win by. I mean, Tories were only down 4. So the Greens were standing, but 8.7. Labour down 21. That's fantastic news. Don't know where that is, but it used to be real. It looks like it used to be really just Labour versus Tories. Lib Dems, nowhere really. So that's good. Balderton. This is in New York and Sherwood as well. Northern Carrington. An independent was defending, and they've been Reform have won it, so that's good. 42%. That's pretty good. Turnout 25%. Pretty average and low. The Tories were up, so that's a bit of a surprise. Don't know why that is. Labour Well, they weren't really in it anyway. Greens, they came in pretty good, 13%. So that's 2 for Reform in the bag, thank goodness. And Harbour, another 1 for Reform, so that's good. Taking it from Tories, 32% turnout, so that's pretty big for a council by-election. 35% Tories, 26 down 6, Lib Dem 28 up 2, so Lib Dem are quite big here in this area anyway. Labour, they've crashed, thank goodness, and Greens, they've come down a bit as well, so I'm not sure what was going on there. Maybe they were voting Lib Dem or something, I don't know. Maybe even voting Tory, I don't know, but yeah, Reform in, so that's good, yeah. And that's Harbour. And on to the final one in Scotland, Buckhaven, Methil and Weems Village in Fife. It was a Labour area. It's an SNP gain, but the good news is Reform are in at 29% of the vote, so that's fantastic. This is first preferences. SNP get 42 and they were down 5, but that's fantastic. Hopefully Labour are finished here. Well, they're still pretty strong, but they're down 20. This was a Labour versus SNP area really. Turnout 27%, so that's pretty standard, low. Lib Dem's nowhere. That's a surprise because that's a sort of Lib Dem area. I don't know why. It's just one of those cranky things in Scotland. We've got some Lib Dem areas because they don't want to vote Labour or Conservative for some reason. So, was there an independent standing as well? So the Tories, Labour were right down 20. Is that an independent? I can't get in there. Yeah, so that's good. So even though SNP done really well, maybe the Labour vote switched to SNP, but some of them. But Reform, I don't think this is a sort of conservative area. So, I mean, I know this area, Weems Bay is a really nice area. Pretty working class, I would say the whole area. You know, that was a fishing village. Buckhaven, is that a fishing village as well? I can't remember, but yeah, that's really good. So it does look like Reform are really making big inroads into Scotland. I think they're the second party at the moment, actually. Quite a bit behind the SNP, but they're still second, like 21% or something. So they're really taking root here. Personally, I would say it's for the same reason as me. One issue, Overton window shift, so it's a protest vote, really. Yeah, so that's it. Let's take a look at next week's elections. This is still on Election Maps UK website. So there's 5 next week. The Vale of White Horse, don't know where that is. Lib Dem's defending, and well, we've got 5 candidates at least. The last time there was only 2. So maybe Labour and Greens stood down to let the Lib Dems win it from the Tories. But this time I'm expecting the Tories to get thrashed. Hopefully Reform will come in there. And on to North Somerset. It's a green area. This is, I just can't understand this, how the Greens are doing well in, southwest England. Doesn't make sense to me. It seems like they're picking either the Greens or the Lib Dems. So this was a green area. Reform are standing this time, so that's good. So all 5 parties standing there, really, the main ones. We've got one in Wales, and Reform are standing, so that's good. Let's see how Plaid Cymru do this time. I would expect them to win it, but I think they'll be right down. It looks like the Labour, etc. didn't even stand, not even Tories or whatever, last time. But yeah, Reform are standing this time, and there's an independent as well. And St Leonard's, East Lindsay. It's a Tory, is that right down in the southeast? I don't know. And this last time it was Conservative held, it was just Tory, Labour, Independent. This time there's 5 and Reformers standing. I really hope that Reform can win that there. I think it's probably a chance. And then Canterbury, win cheap in Canterbury. Lib Dem were defending. It looks like Tories were nowhere in this area. It was Lib Dem versus Labour, really, and the Greens. Let's hope Reform can make inroads there. So that's it. Any chance you get to vote in a democracy, we've got a very undemocratic, we've got the worst system, in fact, first past the post. And if you get a chance to vote, take it, seize it. Council by-election, vote Reform, in my opinion, especially if you traditionally vote Labour, SNP, Greens, Plaid Cymru, because we're at that stage, it's an emergency stage. If you feel that way, if you're happy the way the country's going, just keep voting as usual. Okay, bye now.